Okay, perfect. And thank you for joining again our webinar this morning, AcreValue 101. Our host is Don Lepard, so I will pass it right over to you, Don.
Hi, everyone. My name is Don Lepard. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at AcreValue. I have the pleasure of taking care of training and support for our users. I also have Jeff Nazuka with me, our lead account executive. If you have any questions regarding premium access or bulk data, drop a message in the chat and Jeff will reach out to you after the meeting. So I'm going to go over the outline here. We'll start by talking about what is AcreValue, as well as the data sets and information that you can find here. Then we'll spend most of the conversation talking about how other folks use AcreValue for specific goals or research, and then with directions on how to get started. Stick around to the very end. We do have a free trial coupon for anybody who attended the webinar. Okay, so because many of you have started or come from many different backgrounds and may have signed up at different points in the last few years, I think it's helpful to start with the conversation here today by setting the tone of what is AcreValue. So we're on the same page. So what is AcreValue? Well, AcreValue is the gold standard in land research software. And the way that AcreValue works is by pulling together many different data sets so that you can research land, contact owners, and determine land prices as fast as possible. Currently, we have over 1 million users. That includes you, folks that are here with us today. So thank you so much for being part of the AcreValue community. Generally, we see about 500,000 visitors on the website every month, and a good portion of whom are not just using this for curiosity, but actually using AcreValue on the day-to-day for their business. And we can cover some of those use cases later as well. We do cover over 3,000 counties in the lower 48 states. So if you have any questions about a specific area where you're located or that you're interested in, we do have a Q&A session later on the webinar for us to talk about it. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at what AcreValue is. If I had to break it down, it would be these 4 pillars. First, you can see the landowner profile, which includes the landowner's name, the contact information, and the email addresses and potential phone numbers for the owner of the land. Next, you could see the comparable sales over here on the left, which are recent transactions of sold land. In real estate, appraisers and realtors use like-kind properties to determine land values for their clients. So being able to see recent transactions will give a solid estimate of current land values. AcreValue's comparable sales feed in weekly from the county records. And a unique part of AcreValue's comparable sales is also being able to see whether there is a mortgage for the transaction or whether it was purchased with cash, which is going to be helpful when you're talking to the landowner. So next is the land characteristics down here, bottom left, including crop history, flood hazard, soil maps, and brand new elevation and topography maps that were added to AcreValue a few months ago. Essentially, this is the tell me about your little land or the lay of the land. And then last, over here on the bottom right is the energy infrastructure, including nearby transmission lines, substations, wind turbines, solar farms, and more, as well as the ownership information status, and other relevant info for each. I've seen this become much more of a relevant conversation recently as folks are becoming more aware of other opportunities for the highest and best use of their land. And one thing to note, the government has now shut down access to substation data sets, so which means that AcreValue is one of the last places that you can go to find this information. So we just covered the 4 pillars of AcreValue. Let's talk about putting that information into action. So how do folks use AcreValue? For our consumer audience, those might be you using AcreValue for just your own purchases or out of curiosity. We found that folks are doing some of the following. First, for folks who are interested in purchasing new land, AcreValue helps by presenting you with maps of parcels and local landowners, as well as active for sale properties. You can use AcreValue to research land prices or find a local real estate expert or financing solutions. And second, for those who want to rent land or find land to rent, The process is pretty similar. You can search through the map of parcels and landowners, local or out of state, and then use AcreValue to research land prices and get in touch with the landowner to start a conversation and propose a rental. Next, we see a lot of current landowners use AcreValue frequently to manage their own properties. Primarily, this involves staying up to date with local land values and how those might impact your decision to sell or hold. Landowners also visit AcreValue to connect with other landowners and potential renters, as well as finding property maps for printing property maps for their properties, just to have on file. Next, on the topic of staying in touch with local land values, AcreValue also puts out periodic reports which are happening in regional and state level land markets. So get a chance to check those out on our website. And finally, for folks who are looking to potentially sell property, AcreValue is a great way to quickly estimate the land values and then prepare all the research needed to list the property. And if you're in the market to buy or sell, we have a nationwide network of real estate agents and local experts. So reach out to us and we'd be happy to connect you with one of them. So we just covered the ways that the consumer audience is using AcreValue. Now, how about the professional users? We're grateful that AcreValue is the main avenue for folks in the industry to quickly find data and finish their research. And because of that, we've been able to have conversations with folks from many different professions and industries around land, including real estate, finance, investment, energy, and more. And for these folks, a common thread AcreValue is providing to them. One, consistent and reliable access to better data. And two, the tools needed to shorten research cycles and put reports in front of clients or consumers faster. Given these different use cases that I've covered, now let's jump into AcreValue software. And we'll actually start by taking a look at the data that's in there as we covered in earlier stages of this presentation. And then we'll dive into different use cases. Is there any questions so far? Okay, I don't see any, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the demo here. Can everybody see my screen? Okay.
Yep, good to go.
Okay, so this is the main page of AcreValue. So when you come to AcreValue, you're going to see this page. You're going to see all these tiles down here. I think this is the easiest way to navigate because you can you got a little bit of a picture of seeing what you're looking at here. But this is the parcel map. We're going to start at the parcel map. But the places you'll probably spend most of your time is parcel map, sold land database to look for comps, and then the market explorer. But you should also check out our resources, and then the webinars like today will be put in this section here. So if you ever miss a future webinar, I tend to teach the basics, AcreValue 101 and 102. Jeff tends to teach the higher level use of AcreValue. If you ever miss one of those, they're right here in this section under webinars. But we're going to go to parcel map first. And so, this is on the national level. You can scroll until you get to your area and move the map around. I think the easiest thing to do is to put the state in there that you're interested in, put a county in, and you'll see it shade, and you'll see this button get darker here, and then you can zoom to where you need to go. Oops, can't get key. And then once you were able to zoom to where you need to go. I have a property already picked out. See, zoom to results. I have a property already picked out over here. So I'm just gonna hover over the parcels. When you zoom in far enough, the parcels will actually shade. And you can see the boundary lines. And then as you roll over the parcels, you'll see a card pop up and it will tell you the name of the owner, the acreage, and then the production index scores. But if you actually click on it, that card expands, and then now you have more information, including the parcel ID number, which I know is sometimes hard to find because these parcels a lot of times don't have addresses, so it's hard to find the parcel ID number. It has the name of the owner and the owner's address. And then there's some information here towards the bottom, but we're going to generate a report that has more information. So with your plus and premium subscription, you get the name of the owner, the parcel ID, and the owner's address. For an additional charge, really cheap, 12 cents per poll, you can do something called skip tracing. So this is where I was talking about getting contact data for the owner. So if I click on this little magnifying glass here, this magnifying glass is in a couple of spots, but this is the easiest way to get to it. If I click on that, it's going to use one of my credits, and it's going to tell me the person's name, the name, the phone number, and potential physical addresses for them, as well as the age. I think the age is really important. We just added that because if you know that somebody is getting closer to retirement age, they might be interested in selling. So this is something to really pay attention to. And if you're moving this data over to a CRM, this is something that I would add along with it. So again, that's this, when we click on the parcel itself, and then it is the magnifying glass right here. So I always tell people don't spend too much time in this card itself. Just go down here to get full report. That will take us to the report screen, which shows a lot more information, including the things like referenced earlier, like the elevation maps, the soil survey, crop history, comps. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. So at the top, I have the valuation page, which has all of the information for the property kind of summarized. I'm going to skip over comps for right now and go to the elevation maps, then vegetation maps, soil survey, flood. And so if you roll over this, you see where there's a flood risk and where there's not. Crop history, expanded ownership data. This will have a lot more data when I actually generate the report. And then proximity to energy infrastructure. So if you're maybe a realtor and you're talking to somebody and you're like, I'm seeing that the wind turbines are heading towards your property. Your property might be a good potential for wind. This is how you can do your research on that. And if there's any conservation easements on file, they would be here. And for those of you who just joined, we are recording this, so this will be up later today, so you'll be able to see what you missed. And then now we're going back up to the comp section. So there's 3 ways to pull comps. This is the fastest. Just let the system pull comps based on preset criteria. Another way, the medium speed way, is to go to this advanced filters. And then you can toggle between factor of importance and general filters. So you can say, acreage and sale date are the most important to me. The rest are less important. And you can put hardline filters in here, like I only want between 80 and 129 acres here, and I only want a certain sale condition. And then if you apply those filters, it will select new comps for you. So once I generate this report, we'll go to the sold land section, and I will discuss how to pull comps in more detailed way. So if we're happy with the comp section and all the pages, we're going to go to the top right-hand corner here and hit download. That's going to bring up this page, this card here, and it's going to let you select what reports you want within the master report. So, if you know that carbon and energy potential is not any interest to your client, you can uncheck those. Just for the sake of how fast it is, I'm just going to leave them all. And then this little downward arrow here, this is to download it to your local drive. This is the fastest way to get it into your hands. So I just click on that. And it was just like that. I mean, it was fast. So if I click on the report, here it is. For our premium users, those who are going to be purchasing the highest level, you will be able to remove our logo and add your own logo or your company logo so that you can kind of present this as your own work product. For basic users, it's basic and plus, that's not possible. But here's the report. I'll quickly go through that. So this is the main page that had all the information on it. Then the comps, the elevation, soil survey, flood, 5-year crop history, ownership. This is where I said it would make more sense when I point to this. It has a lot of data. Proximity to certain types of refineries and things like that, average precipitation, A lot of this stuff is really helpful if the person's a farmer. And then this is the proximity to energy infrastructure. So that is the report. I am going to now go to the main page here in parcels. And I want to reference one thing, that parcels is everyone's parcel. So the parcels page is everyone. It's not just recently sold transactions. So if land is owned by somebody, even the government, it's going to be on the parcels page. And so you'll spend the majority of your time here, especially if you're prospecting. And anytime you click on a property, it is put in this queue up here at the top. And so as you click on properties, let's say you want to include more property in your report, you can keep selecting parcels and generate a report that's rather big. It will take more time if it's over 750 acres. I would try to keep it below 750 acres. But this is a good way for you to create a combined report, especially if your client is interested in purchasing multiple parcels. Also, is a good muscle memory, click this clear all as soon as you log in, especially if you're somebody who leaves your windows open from the previous day. You could be generating reports and you look at it and you're like, oh, there's like 7 parcels on here because it was yesterday's project still loaded in this queue. So one thing I want to show too is the filters. So we are in Illinois, so let's go to Illinois. Let's just pick a county. Zoom to results. And then up here, there is a more button. See it next to clear filters, more. If you select on that, this is how you're able to narrow down land. So let's say you have you're prospecting, you want specific, corn producing farms, or you want properties that have potential for solar or wind. This is how you're going to locate those properties. So one of the new filters we have is owner mailing address. So if you know exactly the property that you're looking for, you can put the address in here, and then kind of base your search around that particular parcel. You could put things in like, I want to look at transmission lines, and I want all property that's within 1 mile of all the transmission lines. You can put things like acreage. I only want to look at properties that are 100 acres or more. If it's a farm that you're looking for, this is extremely useful. Please make a note of this one. Production index scores, it might be called NCCPI in your state. It's essentially how productive the land is based on the soil quality. Higher production index scores, the more yield a farm's going to have. And so farmers know this. They know exactly what type of soils they want and what type of production index scores they want. So this is very important. And then kind of playing off that same thing is the land use. So down here at the bottom, if you have somebody that wants a farm, they want a particular crop like corn or soy, you can put that in here, and you can even put something as specific as, I know that he wants land that's at least 80% tillable, which means 80% of the land is available for farming. Because the other 20% he wants to put structures on or something like that. It isn't a hardline rule. So if something is 79%, it's still going to display that for you. All of these filters that are put in place are just to get you as close as you can to those particular parcels. And so I'm going to remove a couple of these and then hit apply. And then while that's loading here, it's going to highlight the parcels, but I'm going to show you something that's really useful. I think that if you know where a piece of property is, looking at the map is really useful. When you don't know where the property is, or you're looking for a particular type of property, I believe list view is a lot more useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that. And so the list view, if you didn't see how I clicked that, it's the list and map. So you can toggle back and forth between list and map view. And so this works just like an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV. So you can, double click on this if you want it to be organized based on size of the acreage. So this one I did low to high. Now I can do high to low. This is also really useful too. So I have it going high to low. You can also add and remove different columns. So right now I have an acreage, county, the PIN number, the estimated value per acre, closest to a substation, average PI. But you can go through and add and remove these columns so that you're able to have a report that fits your needs. And I always tell people, this is going to be a pro tip. This little heart here is the favorite. Remember, if you see a piece of property and you're like, oh, I need to look at that later, don't assume that you can find it later, because sometimes I mean, these counties have thousands and thousands of parcels. It's really easy to, misremember something and not be able to find a parcel again. Just click any parcel that you're interested in, and you can always uncheck it later. You can do this an unlimited number of times, but it's really helpful to be able to go back and look at a parcel that you're interested in. And then, this report here, I think, is a lot easier to navigate. And then if you find a parcel that you're interested in, you can click zoom to, and it will take you directly to that parcel. So I have done the filters, the list view. Uh, let's look at some of the energy. Oh, actually, let's look at the toggle menu. This is new. This is actually really cool. So I would go back to the map feature in this case, the map view in this case, and then I would say toggle menu. So we just added this. We've added it and we've expanded on it most recently. So this is where you can add or remove things. I know a lot of realtors, if you are not working with somebody who's even interested in pursuing options with power or anything like that, you can just remove the electrical grid and the electrical power generation, so plant, solar, wind. You can just remove those. Or if that is your goal, you can see it in full. One thing we just recently added is the electrified areas. So this is so there's transmission lines and distribution lines. And so transmission lines are the high voltage lines that generally come directly from substations, solar and wind, or directly from a power plant. Those feed the distribution lines that you see in neighborhoods. And so we just added this, especially if you are a builder or you are a farmer who is looking to develop on a piece of land. This is going to be very useful for you because you're going to be able to see if the power is close by. And then we have oil infrastructure as well, oil and gas information as well. And I think, this is useful. This is especially useful if because we show the decommissioned oil wells. You will want to know if you are buying a piece of land and you intend to build a house on it and there's a decommissioned oil well on there. That's something you need to know, because that could be potentially hazardous. That might need remediation. It could cost additional money. So this is extremely useful. Uh, and then there's also water bodies on here. I mean, this is just fun, especially if you're just like vacationing and you want to know what water bodies are around. I think it's really useful. But if you're in a state where water is scarce and your production depends on access to water, this is very, very useful. And you'll see here it's all in blue where the water bodies are. And then we have recreation data that we just added. So this is more just for fun. You can see what hiking trails and things like that are available in the area. So that's down here. We added the geological areas too. So this I think, Jeff, are we gonna have a training on this one coming up, I want to say?
Yeah, it's certainly likely that we may have another training there for just these particular toggle datas, but definitely go through it right now.
Okay. Let's go through this, what the electrical regions are, so you can see we'll highlight a couple of them here. And then they become more full as you zoom out here. So you can see like what planned areas, what different type of electrical regions there are. And then we also have the protected areas. So this is like fee lands, parks that have protected status, protected waters, which is really important to know about, especially if you're wanting to build a house somewhere, or or you're building farmland and you want to avoid protected waters. This is a really good thing to look at. So we have a lot of new features. Again, we will have probably another training on that. If not, we'll make just a video to put inside that webinar section for you guys. So I've gone over the toggle menu. Why don't we go to the Market Explorer next? I think we're winding down anyway. So the Market Explorer, here, let me remove some of this. Okay, and then so the Market Explorer, there's a couple places you can find it. So again, the map here, or sorry, the main page, you can go to Market Explorer, or over here on the right-hand side, you can see this, this white grid here. This will show us the just the market data on a expanded level. So either the state or the county, or you can even do it on a national level, and you can see trends in real estate. So when you're putting together different types of reports for your maybe your buyer or seller, or just for your own records, and you want to know what are the hot areas right now where transactions are happening, this will tell you where transactions are happening. So I would consult this anytime you're going to be using marketing dollars, because you want to put some thought into it, because if you have an area that is really hot with sales, you might look at the sales and be like, well, there's not really that much more, and I don't expect people that just bought land to turn around and sell it. So why don't we look at the county next door and see what's selling, and maybe I want to devote my dollars towards that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe there is still a lot of land that's available in that county, and you want to get in on the action. So, I would consult this. You can do a lot of things: search by state, search by county, search by a specific quarter. If you know that this last quarter has been really exciting, you can go by land use, so row crops, grass pasture land. You can search by tillability, soil index, acreage, and then generate the report. You could also download this to a PDF report. I believe in the future, we're going to have this for Premier users to be able to really customize their report, so they can tailor it to to them specifically, like realtors and appraisers. But again, this shows stuff like price per quarter, per acre, the breakdown of how much was paid with cash or a mortgage, total transactions. So we're looking at transactions versus volume. Here's the volume numbers, and then total acreage sold. If you guys have any questions about that, pop that into the chat. I'm going to quickly go to the comp section. So we went over the sales on a expanded level. Now let's go on a honed in level. Like, you want to look at values of specific property. So again, I'm here at the very top. This is the parcel section. I'm going to go to land for sale. So like I said, you'll spend most of your time in parcels, sold land, and then in the Market Explorer. So in this county, we have 866 sales that have happened. I'm going to go into again, this is the same way as the parcel section. Up at the top, there's more. You can search for things like particular sale date, price per acre, sale amount, sale condition. This is important if you only want to look at perhaps regular sales, which we call market sales, and you want to exclude interfamily transfers and foreclosures. We have auctions in here, land contracts, a lot of different options. So you can tailor it to what you want, whether it was a mortgage or cash, particular acreage, particular soils, and then land usage as well. And so this is with realtors and appraisers, they tend to look for like kindness. So they know what their subject property is. Maybe it's a listing that's coming up, or they have a particular piece of property that their client is interested in purchasing. So what their goal is to look at that piece of property and then plug in those characteristics and then find land that's similar. And so we make it really easy. So, we know that if it's a particular like crop, corn and soy, you want to look at corn and soy. And if you know that your subject property is 80% of the land is tillable, you can put in 80% tillable. If you know that there's water frontage or something like that, we only have road frontage right now, water frontage is coming. We know that can increase the value of the property. So you can put in that information, proximity to energy infrastructure, all of this stuff is good. And so let's say I know that my property is between 100 and 150 acres. I have corn as my option here. We had 800, now we're down to 64. Do you see how fast that whittled down over 800 properties down to about 60? And then if I go into list view again, I only think map view is really useful when you're trying to locate something like based on the roads or how far it is within a certain township. But the list view, when you don't know and so from this view, then you can start looking through things like, okay, look, the sale condition on these are all market, but we do have some interfamily in here. We might want to get rid of those because, family's probably going to sell land to a family member at a much cheaper price, and it's not realistic that that would be a good comp. And so you can go through and start hand picking the comps that you want, and then use those for your decision as far as what you're going to list or what you're going to make an offer for. And that's really it. I mean, I breezed through that. If any of you are realtors or appraisers and you have very specific questions and are maybe interested in purchasing premium, schedule just a one-on-one with Jeff or myself, and we can walk you through how to generate comps really quickly and see if that's something you can add to your workflow. So that is the comp section. I think I'm pretty much done. Jeff, is there anything else you think I should go over?
Yeah, let's open it up for Q&A here. The only other thing that we want to get started to cover is how to get started for all
Yep.
of our consumers.
Yeah, so let me talk about that right now. Okay, so to purchase a subscription, so if you are looking for just like a basic or premium basic or plus subscription, just go to acrevalue.com, and then there's a plans at the very top. And then make sure you pay attention to there's a toggle menu where you'll see monthly versus annual, and then you can go there. If you use our Father's Day coupon, there is a Father's Day coupon as well. We're gonna have another coupon here for towards the end of this as well. And then we always run specials. So if you ever decide later you don't see a coupon available, just email support and we might have one for you. So that's support@acrevalue.com. And then for power users, Jeff is the lead account executive, and I back him up. So if you email us or just drop a message in the chat, we are always running specials. And we always have really good deals going on. It's based on use, so the more that you purchase, the better the deal that we can give you, in reference to how many states and user seats you need. Jeff can give you a more detailed, higher level view of AcreValue and how it can be used on a professional level on a one-on-one training or with you and your team. And then, yeah, let's open it up to the Q&A.
Alrighty, Don. So we've got our first question. This is from Paul. Thanks, Paul. The question is, how do you come up with your land value estimates? Do you want to take that, or do you want me to take that?
Well, I brag a little bit. Our CEO is like a preeminent expert in agricultural economics. He was a professor at Cornell for like over a decade. He has very close ties with a lot of government agencies and is looked to as basically an expert at land values in the agricultural space. So his model for determining values is the secret sauce. Nobody at this company knows what's in that, and it's highly prized by insurance companies and government agencies. It's very, very detailed, and it takes a lot of things into consideration. But as far as we do know some of the data points are obviously the recent sales, where it's located geographically, and then just the land use obviously determines the value. But um, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Do you have anything to add to that, Jeff?
Yep. I think you probably summed it up as well as I could. There are lots of different data points that go into that land value estimate. There's quite a few, and we use a lot of the same data that we have off on offer on our site to be able to model that.
Right.
I do see another question as well. So what's the difference between basic and pro? Okay, that's actually a really good question. So pro is kind of the umbrella for all of the different paid subscriptions on AcreValue. There are several levels to them on the consumer side, and basic is one of those levels. So on the consumer side, with basic, you're able to see more or less property maps. If you're curious about things like owning or knowing who the land owners are, maybe trying to get in touch with them, or if you're also maybe curious about land values, you'll need to be going towards a little bit higher levels. So that would be plus and premium on the consumer side. So again, pro is kind of the umbrella of all of the paid subscriptions. Basic is one level.
Right. And if you are doing comp research at a high level, like you really need to know the land values, you really can't use plus. I mean, you can, but you're going to spend so much more time clicking around at comps. What the feature I showed you how to slice it down like 800, or sometimes it's like in the thousands of comps in an area down to a handful, that's really only in premium. And that's what the realtors and appraisers are using. And so if you are a land buyer and you know that you're going to be putting out lots and lots of offers, and you need to know comp research, premium is the way to go.
Yep, absolutely. Another question here. So how close are your land value estimates versus actual sales data in percentage? We're pretty confident in our land values. I don't know if I have a specific number to give in terms of how close, but we are confident in them. And in particular, I think there's a couple of things to consider just when we're putting out the land values and saying, here's what we model as the value of the land. Number one, we're always going to err slightly on the side of being conservative, just as a safe practice in terms of land value and estimating those types of things. And so just keep in mind when you go on to AcreValue, if you do take a look at the land value results, they're probably going to be a little bit lower than those cutting edge prices that you're seeing in your market. We're going to tend to be a little bit more conservative on that end.
Exactly. Do you have any other questions? I can't see the
Great.
chat right now. Jeff, is there any?
Yeah, Paul has a follow-up as well. So thanks. I'm glad that was helpful. Are you aware how your land values typically correlate to formal appraisals? That's a good question. I do talk to quite a few appraisers, but to be completely honest, most of my conversations with appraisers go back to using raw, sales data that's being pulled from the counties. That's generally what they leverage when it comes to putting together appraisals themselves. So, um, off the top of my head, I can't think of you know, hard conversations that I've had with appraisals saying, let's take a look at the land value estimates on our side. They usually tend to favor a different data set on our system. Um, I would assume they're quite close, but again, on the side of slightly conservative for our land values. Again, referencing the, that's a best practice for estimating those things.
Also, appraisers can, I mean, the appraisers that do farm appraisals, they are the highest level appraiser that there is, general certified appraisers, and they are essentially commercial appraisers. So they can give valuations on buildings, uh, cattle, all these different things, the whole scope of a farm. We deal in land. So they will use us for the purpose of getting a good, feeling of what the land should be as a temperature check, but appraiser's not going to use the AVMs, and they're going to use their own research. And that's why I showed you how to pull comps individually, because that is how appraisers quickly determine value. They determine it by pulling relevant like kind comps and determining value from those. Is that all the questions then?
Yeah, that's everything in the chat so far. We'll leave the chat available here for maybe another minute or two, just in case you've got a question.
Yeah, I will definitely say that AcreValue is an amazing tool, and it's great for a lot of people to be able to do things on their own. But it definitely does not replace an appraiser or a realtor. We help realtors and appraisers do their job more effectively, and with speed and accuracy. But these people are local experts in the area. Usually, appraisers work 3 or 4 counties, and they know it like the back of their hand. And realtors really have their thumb on the pulse of what the trends are with real estate. So they're seeing, oh, this is on the rise in this county. So you really leverage those guys. We have a network of realtors and appraisers that we work with. If you ever want to be connected, you can email support, or there's a form on the main page where you can fill out and get contacted. Well, we're about 7 minutes over. Well, no, we're like 12 minutes over. I think it's probably a good time to close it down. If there's no more other questions, uh, if you are somebody who came in a little late, don't worry. I'm going to process this as soon as we get off the call, and I'm going to upload it to YouTube. So you just go to our YouTube page. Also, you can go to the webinar section on the main page of AcreValue.
Beautiful. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day, and hope to see you on AcreValue soon.
Thank you, everyone.